Good morning, Oostburg Concrete. Leadership and employees. We're going to talk about cold and work. Recognizing hazards and symptoms to exposure to cold. Know how to prevent and respond to cold exposure. Applicable conditions fall under the general duty clause under OSHA. Overexposure to cold, indoors or outdoors, can be harmful to one's health. Frostbite. Body tissue may freeze when skin is exposed to extreme cold and or touches a very cold object. The nose, ears, cheeks, fingers, and toes are the greatest risk. Worst cases can cause permanent damage, loss of movement in the affected parts, tissue damage, etc. Damage may be greater if the body part is thawed than refrozen, believe it or not. Hypothermia. Exposure to cold may send body temperature to dangerous low levels. It can occur in above freezing temperatures when it's windy and you're exhausted or wearing wet clothing. Worst cases can lead to unconsciousness or even death. Factors that increase the risk of frostbite and hypothermia: age, overweight, smoking, drinking, certain medications, allergies, or poor circulation. Victim's failure to recognize symptoms and take the appropriate action in the first place. Reduce risk and exposure to extreme cold. Avoid bathing, smoking, or drinking drinking alcohol before going into cold temperatures. Wear layers of loose, dry clothes. If possible, wear wool underneath and waterproof layer on top. Always cover your hands, your feet, face, and head in the cold. Uncovered head can lose up to 40% of its heat. Change or get dry immediately if clothes get wet. Keep moving and working in the cold. Take breaks if your company allows for it. Move to warm area when you start to feel very cold and or numb. Have warm, alcohol-free, caffeine-free drink. Recognize frostbite and hypothermia symptoms. They include feeling extremely cold and numb with possibly tingling, aching, or brief pain. White or grayish yellow glossy skin, which may blister. Confusion, failing eyesight, a shock condition. Hypothermia includes chills, shivering, numbness, sometimes pain to the extremities. Respond quickly and correctly to frostbite or hypothermia symptoms. Act immediately. When symptoms develop, to prevent serious problems, move to warm place, replace frozen, wet, or tight clothing with warm clothes or blankets. Drink warm beverage without alcohol or caffeine. Get medical help if it's necessary. Take first aid actions for frostbite. Warm the frozen part immediately with blankets or warm, not hot water. Avoid touching frozen parts. Don't rub it or hit it. Keep the frozen part away from hot stoves, heat lamps, hot bottles. Don't break blisters. All right? Or don't drink caffeine either. Okay? Exercise the body part once it's warm, but don't walk on frostbite feet. Take first aid measures. Cover victim with blankets and the next person to give body heat. Don't give hot baths or electric blankets or use of hot water bottles. Keep the person awake and give artificial respiration if needed. Get emergency help if that's also needed. How do we prevent? In closing, be thinking ahead to those exposures. Make sure we have the layers of clothing and stuff we need before we ever experience this kind of situation. I brought this up today as a topic because I've seen so many in a recent week or couple weeks. I can't believe how ill-prepared I've seen. This is our chance, leaders, to help educate, inform, and make a difference before something happens. And I conclude by saying this. I want to wish all of you and your teammates an absolute great, healthy, and safe upcoming new year. Till next week, take care, everyone.